Hi and welcome back to MRTV. Today it's my pleasure to bring you a very special interview. I had the chance to speak with Alvin Wang Graylin, who is the president of HTC China. HTC has just announced the XR Suite, a collection of apps that will allow you to work, learn and play in virtual reality. And the company actually wants this to become the office of spatial computing. So very exciting, and we're going to learn all about it from HTC President Alvin Wang Graylin, and all of this is coming up. Welcome back again here to MRTV. My name is Sebastian, and this channel is all about virtual reality. I'm bringing you unbiased and honest reviews of all the VR headsets, and you're getting exciting background stories just like this one here. So if you're into VR, then absolutely do subscribe to this channel and click on the bell button so that you don't miss anything. All right, but now without further ado, let's get into the interview. It is my pleasure to say hello to Mr. Alvin Wang Graylin, who is the HTC President of China. Hello, Alvin. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Sebastian. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you again. It has been some time. I think we saw each other Mobile World Congress 2019 in Barcelona, I believe.
Well,
yeah.
You have a good memory.
Yeah, I do. yes. I have a quite good memory about these kind of things. Yes, Alvin, so nice to see you, and I'm looking forward to talk to you about something that you have just announced. It's the XR Suite. And tell our viewers a bit more about what you're doing with the XR Suite and what is the new normal? Or the next normal?
Next normal.
The next
actually,
normal,
yeah.
Okay.
So the XR Suite is Vive's suite of bundle of software, which we think will be something that will enable users of any level with any device to start getting into immersive computing, right? Something that they would use every day, something that brings everybody immediate value, and something that they don't need to have a VR device to use. So if you have a VR device, of course, you're going to get the best experience. But if you have a PC or even a modern smartphone, you should be able to dip your toes into the VR ecosystem and start getting a feel of what it's like to essentially work and learn and live in 3D, right? I mean, we all live in a physical world that's 3D, but we right now, because of this pandemic and all the social distancing, we are forced to interact on a 2D surface like we are right now, through screens. It's not so bad when it's one-to-one, but when you're one-to-many or many-to-many, that screen becomes ineffective, right? So we really wanted to make a 3D way for people to collaborate, to communicate, to enjoy life together, without the constraints that are being placed on us by 2D screens and cameras today. So that's what the XR Suite is. It's a combination of 5 different apps that 4 are from third-party leading providers. Essentially, Vive Sync is the only one that is in-house. Everything else is from companies that have been around 5-10 years, have proven their product is stable, it has good functionality, it's good UI, and we essentially will integrate all of them into one common suite with a common login, with a common branding system, as well as in the future common UI and common avatar systems, so that no matter what app you're in, it feels like you're in the same environment and allows you to actually jump between these different apps, because no single app we know right now can satisfy all the needs of the daily use of customers. So we essentially found the one that we think that is doing the best job, and then we are working with these global leading companies to create that total solution together. And we're looking to release that in Q3 initially, and then we'll go first in China and then to the rest of the world starting Q4. So I think it's going to be an exciting time. And in fact, at last week's event, we also announced that Hewlett-Packard will be preloading the XR Suite onto their computers. So I think that's a very helpful thing, because now you buy a new computer or a laptop, you turn it on, and you can already interact with other people in VR. Right, or using a 3D interface. We also announced that we are partnering with Baidu, which is the #1 search company in China. And they have millions and millions of small medium business who advertise with them. They will push this XR Suite solution to all of those companies who are trying to work remotely and getting all of their staff to be effective working remotely, right? Now, we are also going to work with Activation Group. They are the largest events agency in China, the only public events agency in China that's listed on public market. And they will essentially take all their leading brands, and they work with the top fashion brands, the top auto brands, the top luxury brands in the world. And we will create, product launches and fashion shows and exhibitions and so forth, right? So, these are kind of things that we will bring to this platform, as well as, we're now working with China Mobile. We're going to bring a large concert of a kind of a global celebrity level artists to come and perform, and be able to reach millions or tens of millions of people through this platform. So I'm pretty excited. I think what we're putting together right now is something that will essentially become the Microsoft Office of the XR era, right? Once we move beyond flat screens, we're going to move into an immersive computing, a spatial computing type of world. We will need the Office suite or the Life suite, right? That's what the XR Suite is. It is going to be the apps that you use every day, and it will bring us all closer together, even when we're physically apart.
Wow, that's really incredible. And the timing is impeccable. The timing is perfect. I'm wondering, did this whole pandemic speed up things? How come the timing is just so perfect right now?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually been working on the Sync for almost 2 years now, right?
Of course, I think, sure.
And in fact, the VRChat and the MOR are companies that we have invested in actually several years ago. So these are all companies that are part of the ecosystem.
Right.
So Virbela and Engage are new companies that are part of our ecosystem. But Engage we've also invested in. Virbela is a public company. But we are now working with them on a very tightly integrated way. So I think the fact that a lot of these were already part of our ecosystem made it very easy for us to work together, because we knew how each other thinks, and there's a level of trust there. But now that we are putting it together, it definitely is moving very quickly, because everybody sees the need, right? I think a year ago, if you wanted to do this, everybody would be like, oh, why do you want to do this? Is there anybody can use it? Who's going to want to download this? And there'll be 100 reasons not to do it. But I think right now, with what's happening in the world, we're moving in fast forward, right? In 5 months, we progressed, I think, 5 years in the XR space in terms of global understanding of the value of this kind of a computing model versus a flat screen model, or using phones, or using messaging, right? So in a way, the pandemic has actually helped evangelize the benefits of the XR computing model. And that helped us, essentially solidify all these partnerships very quickly. Now, these are relationships we built over many years. So it's not we're not doing it from scratch, but it definitely helps that we've already, like MOR and VRChat, we've actually been integrating with them into our ViPort system, into our single sign-on system for over a year. Right. So that makes it very easy for us to just get that out, get it working, let people feedback with us in terms of how it's doing, and then keep modifying it so that it really becomes something that satisfies the customer requirements.
Okay, that's great. I'm working as an XR consultant for companies, and companies have these needs. They need an app to do discussions and meetings, and well, I was telling them my knowledge about all these different apps, and now you're putting it all together in one app. It makes it very much easier in this moment, right? Having it all together.
I think that's the point, is that it has to be easy for people to understand, and it has to be easy for people to, right? So this is also why we named everything very simply. So it's Vive Sync for meetings.
Okay.
It's Vive Sessions for kind of events and lessons. It's Vive Campus for remote work, remote office, remote schooling, right? And it's Vive Social for essentially the new definition of community, right? To be able to, in that 3D community, instead of just being on a page where you click like and you can make a small text comment. That I think that was the community model of the past. Social communities of the future is all about being in a shared space together, having a shared experience together. And then the Vibe Museum is our museum of other realities, which is about art and culture, because we feel like life cannot just be always about work. It cannot always be just about studying. You have to have art and culture because that fulfills us, makes us more complete. Right? And in fact, the Cannes Film Festival just announced that they will work with MOR or Vibe Museum to do their Cannes VR festival this year. So for 2020, and 53 pieces of content will be displayed inside the Vibe Museum product to display. If you look at VRChat, just last night just had a concert with John Michaels, one of the top DJs in the world, to invite people from around the world to join in this kind of EDM concert together, right? Yeah. If you look at Verbella, they just are doing a 4-day long education conference to bring the educators around the world to teach each other about immersive education. Last week we just did in the Vive sessions our product launch. So we actually launched our own product in our own product. I think that's really people talk about eating your own dog food, right? And so we believe in this technology, and we want to showcase how it's done, right? So we did the first hybrid event where offline we had 500 people, and then online we were in VR, we were on live stream. Live stream had over 2 million people live streaming in China to watch the video of the launch. Wow. Right? So that I think that's where things are, and we also had an exhibition at the same time. So it was a live conference and a live exhibition that linked together. So we even allow the people that were online to automatically transition from the conference section, be teleported into the exhibition hall, and then be able to instantly talk to the representatives of all of the 5 companies that are part of the XR Suite to be able to answer their questions, right? So this is the future of events. I mean, right now to do that, you would have to get on a plane, to have jet lag, go stay in a hotel just to do something like this. Now we do it for you. You just put on a headset, or even just on a computer, you can do that, right? And that saves us time. It saves the environment from pollution. You're right. And it makes us healthier because we're not jet lagged all the time. Right. And of course, it keeps us from the dangers of viruses.
It makes so much sense. Whenever I'm in a company and I tell them to invest in this headset, it's a no-brainer because they use it one time, they save all the costs of traveling, and it makes so much sense. So this is really a no-brainer. Cool to have it in one package. Now, what I'm wondering, how is the business model? Like, how expensive is this XR Suite? If a company now wants to use it, how does it work?
I mean, what we're going to do is that we took our learning from the Vive Infinity subscription model, Viveports Infinity. Essentially, you have one price, all you can use, right? Okay. I think that at the end of the day, that makes life easier for everybody, right? You just have one fixed price, and
depends on the price.
The price will be. We haven't announced the price, but the price will be significantly less than buying any of these individual apps.
Okay, cool.
So So if you think about that, if you buy them individually, it's going to be like X. We're going to be a fraction of X. So So from a buyer's perspective, it's a no-brainer. From a user's perspective, it's easy and no-brainer. And then we automatically allows you to upgrade to different levels. So there's always going to be a free level. So if you're just participating in somebody else's meeting, you don't have to pay anything. Just download it and use it.
Perfect.
Right. Now, if you want to be the one organizing the meeting and you want to be able to download PowerPoint files or videos or 3D models into your environment, you want to set up a little retail store in VRChat, that there will be some fees associated with that. But of course, you're also making money from it because it's actually a mission critical capability. Right? So I think from a buying and selling, it's just a lot simpler than it is today, which is going to right now you have to go to different vendors. And then they all have different user interfaces, and then you have to train your staff to use different things. You have to get 5 different accounts. You have to set up 5 different avatar models. It's very complicated unless it's integrated. And then for a lot of our larger customers, their concern is, hey, I'm going to get 1,000 people to use this. What if this company goes out of business next year? We can't risk that. Now, if we put our name behind it as Vive or HTC, now they know, hey, this company is going to be around. It's going to be integrated. We can ensure its quality. We ensure it's global. The server is going to be everywhere. I'm going to have technical support when I need it. Right? That's what businesses want. Right? They need a certain level of service that is very, very difficult for startups to provide. And so when we say we're going to put our name behind it, we also say that we're going to put our service and our brand and our infrastructure behind it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes lots of sense. So again, for the pricing model, now actually I'm using some of these products right now already, like Engage, for example, and they do have some business model where you have to pay a certain percentage of what you earn to them. How will that work now? If I change now to the Vive version, are they still going to run their own businesses, or is everything now like growing into this XR Suite now?
I mean, we have the global resale and kind of, in China it's exclusive, but the rest of the world we have the global resale rights for it. So I think for a company that has, a couple dozen or a few dozen people, it's very difficult for them to service customers around the world. Right. And, we already have these channel partners. We have these reseller partners. We have these enterprise accounts. It's a lot easier for us to scale, right? At the end of the day, it makes more sense for them just to let us do that work for them, and then we share revenue back to them, right?
Right. Okay, I got it. So did these companies, these 5 apps that actually are part of the XR Suite, is it now that HTC has bought them? Is it now your properties, or do they still exist as their own?
No. So I mean, we are shareholders in most of them, but we haven't bought them fully. I think it makes sense for all these companies to continue to be incentivized to make their products better, right? At the end of the day, if you look at companies that are acquired, 80% of acquisitions fail, right? The founders lose motivation, they stop innovating. They just essentially, waiting for their earnouts for the next 2-3 years, and then they leave the company. It's not necessarily a healthy way. What we feel like the best way for partnerships to work is when both sides are incentivized to keep innovating, to be motivated to keep delivering a better product.
Right. Okay, I understand. So I'm wondering now, VRChat is a big brand name. They have achieved like big brand recognition already. So when I use VRChat using the XR Suite, is it going to be exactly the same universe, or is it like 2 different things now, like the XR Suite, VRChat?
It will give you access to that entire universe. They have 50,000 plus worlds that are in there, but the landing page will be different. The landing world will be different. Okay. It's a little bit more sanitized. I mean, I think if you play the VRChat, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
Not every business wants to go into full that. So we provide a more curated experience, but it's open to continue to move on if you'd like to do the rest of the VRChat experience.
Okay, I got it. I understand. Very interesting. So, who exactly is this targeted at? So obviously at businesses, but is it who do you imagine to use this in the beginning? Like, are you totally?
I think anybody right now that is working remotely or learning remotely, they are our customers. And we are seeing that right now. I mean, after we launched, we are just inundated with inquiries right now of people wanting to take advantage of this solution. And right now there's probably like 2 billion people in the world who are working from home.
Right. It's perfect right now.
so there is a clear need, and and I don't think this is a temporary need. Right. If you look at companies like Twitter, they've already announced, for the rest of history, they will allow all their staff to work from home.
Oh, perfect.
I think you can do that and maintain some level of productivity and camaraderie, but it takes a lot of extra work to do that, right? So if by providing that virtual campus kind of virtual office space for people, it will allow them to continue to have those water cooler conversations. It will allow them to continue to have those serendipitous information that makes them feel like they're part of the team. Right? I think that's what the XR Suite provides you. It provides you, that the kind of the small group meetings that really feels together. Like even though you're each at different locations, you feel like you're in the same place, right? It provides you that centralized learning and pushing of information to you through the sessions product, and it allows you to get complex information or to join business conferences and events without traveling, right? And then you have the Verbella product or the Vibe Campus product that gives you that work environment, and because people need that social aspect of work. Right? A lot of people go to work not because they have to, but because they just want to see other people. Otherwise, they would go crazy every day staying at.
Depends on the boss, though.
Yeah. I mean, so and the fact that you can be in that virtual campus, see the office that's a digital twin of your physical office, and then see your friends there, your colleagues there, go over there and say hi to them and start a conversation, right? If you I'm sure you've had a ton of virtual meetings these days on video. If you have 20 people on the screen, you cannot go and say, hey Joe, how are you doing? Oh, hey Mary, I haven't seen the kids. Nobody talks like that on a video screen with 20 people, right? But when you're in an environment of a virtual office, you can, because then you're actually mimicking the social norms of a physical environment.
I agree. It's fantastic. It's such a big difference to meet people in VR. Also, you feel way closer to them. Like okay, one-on-one it's okay, like what we do right now. But just as you said, if there are like 6 people in that meeting, in that 2D meeting, it feels strange. But if you're in that room, you feel you're more together because you are in that one virtual room. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's really fantastic. Just we know that, Alvin, because we are obviously very big VR enthusiasts. But the general public, they don't understand that yet. So how do you believe are you going to make them understand that? What does it take?
I think this is why we're finding partners like HP and Baidu and China Mobile, because they have the reach to these customers. They have millions of customers that they're working with, right? And the fact that now I can have them use this service without having a computer, without having a headset, that's huge, because now the obstacle, the friction to get in there is essentially zero, right? You can use a phone that you have today to get in there, and then to be able to start feeling what it's like to be in a spatial environment with somebody, right? And the fact that we're going to do things like these giant concerts. Why are we doing these concerts? Not because we're going to sell tickets to them, but that's a way for people to go download this suite, and then to be able to experience what it's like to share a common experience with somebody around the world or somebody that's next to them at the same time, right? That's very different than what we're doing with the concert on video today. I mean, the Together at Home, great concert, lots of celebrities, but essentially it's watching a video stream, right? And I did not feel like I was watching with anybody else. I was just watching that video stream. I had a connection with the artist, but I had no connection with any of the other millions of people that were having that shared experience. Now, if I had a VR concert, absolutely, whoever I invite to come into that same room with me, I feel like we're there together. We can talk about it, we can dance together, right? And we're grooving to that same music together. That's how we get people to understand the value. From that, you will also get people to try it for work. You will get people to try it for school. And when your school tells you have to do it, you don't really have a choice. When your company says you have to do it, you don't have a choice, right? And I don't think it's a bad thing. Actually, I think not having a choice gets people to try it in a way that it bypasses all of the mental barriers that we've had for years, right? That's the if you think about how did smartphones really get into the public? It was actually the BlackBerry, not the iPhone. It was the BlackBerry that started the smartphones. And what was their use? It was email, right? It was BlackBerry Messenger. It was a business use that started letting people understand the value of a smartphone. It will be the same thing here. It will be a business or a learning specific use that will start people to understand the value of VR and XR. And then they will then bring it into the home for life or games or other things. I mean, I love Half-Life Alyx. I spent a lot of hours in there.
Yeah, me too, of course.
But it's something that once you're done, I spend my 20 hours, I'm done. I'm probably not going to go in and play it again, right? But going to work every day, going to school every day, going to your next conference, is something that you will do every day or maybe at least every week. Right? That I think that's the key. Once you start doing something every day, it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, then you will depend on it. You will thrive on it, right? And then you will find new uses for it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, Alvin, when do you believe is the next normal going to be our reality? As in, everyone really has these headsets at home, and everyone, or like the big majority of people, are using a VR headset to do work in virtual reality, just like you mentioned with the BlackBerry doing emails. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? In which year is it going to happen?
I mean, if you asked me that last year, I probably would have said maybe in 5-6 years. I think now it's at least cut it into half. I think within the next 2 or 3 years, I won't say everybody, but I think there will be a very large portion of people will start to communicate and work and live using a more immersive lifestyle. And some of them may still be using a PC to do it, but they will be sharing that in 3D environment with their colleagues and with their classmates. Right? I think that's where that's will happen very, very quickly. And for the early adopters like us, it will probably be, we're already doing it, but there'll be that middle ground, the kind of the innovators that are not the early adopters. That group, the group that we need to actually get past the chasm. I think we've been stuck kind of in that chasm space. We need to get that bowling pins to cross the chasm. If you've read the Crossing the Chasm book, it's all about finding a few vertical use cases. And I think right now the pandemic is giving us the perfect vertical use case, which is remote work, remote learning. So if you can cross the chasm using those two bowling pins, you have immediate mass adoption, because those two things are, even though they're a specific use, they're a very horizontal specific use, right? Which is very different than what other technologies have used in the past to cross the chasm. They usually identify a very small segment. Oh, medical segment for equipment, or video conferencing for executives or something, right? Or private jets for millionaires or something, right? There's usually some small segment, but in this case, this is both a vertical mission critical need and it's a huge segment. I think that's something that is where, in a way, the industry is fortunate that this outbreak happened, because it made it so much more clear the value of the technology to remove distance. Otherwise, the normal reaction would be, oh, I just get on a plane. Oh, I can just go through the commute. Now, when you don't have a choice, the value becomes much clearer.
Right, it makes so much sense. What do you believe in terms of hardware must happen? So we talked about software now. The XR Suite seems to be like a wonderful solution, one in all, but the people will also need some probably more sexy hardware to go with it. Yeah. Right? I mean, now it's still a bit complicated.
Honestly, I'm not worried about the hardware side, because I see the stuff we're working on. I see the stuff that other companies in industry are working on, and there's lots of sexy stuff coming out. Lots of things that are higher resolution and lighter and more balanced and better design and all these things. So I mean, I think the vendors out there have all been listening, and they're just waiting for the demand to come. So this is why our focus on the announcement last week was not about new hardware. It was really about creating demand through use case, through creating an application, right? So at the end, I mean, if you think about it, if you go and look back at the IBM XT or the IBM AT, it was not a sexy machine. It was green screen. It was a big white box. Yeah. But people wanted it, not because of that. They wanted it because it had WordPerfect on it, because it had Lotus 123 on it, because it had a PageMaker on it. Right.
It could get the things done.
Yes. So right now, when you have something that provides value in terms of solving a real mission critical problem, people are less worried about the form and shape and sexiness, right? But if you look at what's happened over the last 10 or 20 years, laptops are getting sexier and thinner and all kinds of colors and chroma keys and all these other things, because now the market is big enough, right? When the market is very small, you do the Model T method, right? You make one car that's black and it's one model, and then you just sell to everybody. But once that market becomes a 100 million units a year, becomes a billion units a year, then there will be a ton of people who will go out there and make hardware that meets the needs, including ourselves.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. I'm wondering for HTC in general, do you believe that HTC is more going to be a software platform in the future, going away from your hardware roots?
I don't think it's about going away. I think it's about completing our ecosystem strategy, right? If you listen to what Cher said 4 years ago, she started talking about building the XR ecosystem, the VR ecosystem. And what were we doing with the Vive X program? And we invested in over 100 companies. We were building the ecosystem. What were we doing with Viveport and getting tens of thousands of developers onto there? We were building the ecosystem, right? So what are we doing right now with the Vive Wave program? We just announced last week we're working with Qualcomm on Vive Wave, and they will make Vive Wave the standard runtime and SDK for all of their XR2, XR1 platforms.
Yeah,
right?
Congratulations. That's amazing, really.
Yeah. We're completing this ecosystem. So at the end of the day, HTC Vive, we are going to become the ecosystem company for XR.
Okay.
Right? And so we don't need to be the company who just sells our own hardware. Right? This is why if you look at our XR Suite announcement last week, specifically I said, we will be compatible with all the hardware vendors, with all the platforms. We're going to be compatible with all the PC operating systems, with all of the phone operating systems, because we want it to be accessible. Right? It's about getting people to use this. Once they use this, people will naturally go to the better solution. Right? If you think about it, when the HD TVs came out, nobody was saying, "Oh, I only work on HTV." I mean, people look at the program and they have the HDTV version and they have the regular TV version. But when you have a choice, which channel are you going to watch? You're going to go watch the HD version of that, right? So that's essentially what we're creating. We're creating a natural incentive for people to migrate higher and higher up that food chain to create a better experience for themselves and for their staff and for their classmates.
That's a beautiful vision, and I believe that platform play is way, more. How to say it makes way more sense in a business way than the hardware play only that it seemed to be before. It makes so much sense.
There also platform come in two methods. So there is the closed platform and there is the open platform.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
That's also something that we are doing very different. There are companies, and I won't mention who, but there are companies who have their own stores for their own hardware and very strict rules.
Right.
So forth and so on, and they only work for themselves. Right. And I think if we want this industry to grow, we need to be an open platform. We need to allow companies of any size to be able to come in, participate, contribute, and then get value out of that ecosystem, right? Because only when everybody can survive, everybody can thrive in this ecosystem will this ecosystem grow, right? Whereas some people like to create a model where one company is successful and everybody else becomes their slaves. I don't think that is the right model to create truly beneficial ecosystem.
Okay, that makes sense. So more of an, let's say, Android way than an Apple way, to make it simple. Something like this. Yeah, something like this. Okay, that makes sense. Let's for a short moment before you have to go, let's talk about Vive Wave. So that was a really, really interesting announcement that you did together with Qualcomm. So basically, every single VR headset that is built with the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR chip will automatically support Vive Wave, your platform. That is really amazing. So for the people who are watching this, we are the audience of this channel is the West, America, Europe. So we haven't got lots of hands on that Vive Wave, right? We didn't have any choice to check it out. Could you tell us a bit more about it? What kind of apps are in it? Is it like you can find games and apps? What is it about?
Well, I mean, essentially, Vive Wave, you can think about it as the underlying operating system for mobile headsets. right? So it is not just about apps. It's really about the SDKs. It's about the eye tracking. It's about the hand tracking. It's about the voice interactions. It's about the faster run times. It's about the streaming from PC to mobile. All of those things that are required for you to have a high performance mobile solution, right? In addition, it automatically makes you compatible with the ViPort store and all of the apps on the store. So we have, I think, about 500 plus apps right now on the ViPort mobile store, right? Automatically, you are compatible with all of those apps, right? And when somebody's developing, they don't have to develop an app for every single platform. Right now, we already have, I think, 8 different vendors that are part of the ViveWave hardware, kind of partnerships. And so, once you develop using our SDK, any of those developers, whether it's Pico or iQIYI or Skyworth or Dipl, 3Glass, automatically will work on their hardware, right? So from a developer perspective, it makes life so much easier, right? And it makes publishing so much easier. You just publish on the ViPort, boom, you're on all of them, right? And we've already tested for you, we've already optimized for you, it will work. Right. I think so. It's great for the developer. It's great for the consumer because now I have the same account. When I switch, like let's say next year I want to move to a different device from a different hardware manufacturer. I have my account. I've already bought all of the software. Automatically migrates over, and I can download the version for that new device, right? No matter which vendor I choose. Right. So we are creating that open system that allows a lot of people to be successful, a lot of people to make money. Right. And that, I think at the end of the day, that benefits the consumer, right? And that benefits the entire ecosystem.
That's exciting. Also, it's more exciting for hardware manufacturers. They can now come up with a new headset and they don't have to worry about how to get the content for that new headset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult for any company to create critical mass, to go and find 10,000 developers and have them all make a version for you. Right, especially when you come up with a new version, and recently we've had a few companies announcing completely closed ecosystems for a brand new hardware, and I say good luck because it is we know how hard it is to get developers to work for you, to get their attention, right? When you're a brand new vendor, and if you're not part of either one family or the other family, developers just don't have time.
Right, that makes sense. Right, so very, very exciting news coming from HTC here. So the XR Suite will come out sometime in the third quarter or fourth quarter. What do you say? Third quarter. So very soon we will be able to check out the XR Suite with 5 exciting apps for working and playing together in virtual reality. And also the ViveWave will be compatible with all Qualcomm XR chips. Super exciting news coming out of HTC. And Alvin, thank you so much for your time in this very exciting interview.
No, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, and you're very informed on what's going on in the industry.
Oh, yeah. So that's my job.
Always a fun conversation. So
thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me.
And looking forward to speak with you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, that was a truly interesting interview. Thanks again to Alvin Wang Graylin for taking the time to speak with MRTV. Once the XR Suite is out, I'm definitely going to check it out and I'm definitely going to show it to you here on the channel, so stay tuned to MRTV. That's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If yes, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you've not yet subscribed to MRTV yet, do so now and click on the bell button so that you don't miss anything. I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode.